We have it, a little flavour of the Labour Party conference yesterday, that national anthem. Let's discuss what it means for the Labour Party. Let's discuss how this party is preparing itself to be seen as more of a party of government. I'm delighted to be joined by the Telegraph columnist Tim Stanley and by the associate editor of the Daily Mirror, Kevin Maguire. First of all, Tim Stanley, I've seen some of the things you've been writing about this idea of the Labour Party having that national anthem yesterday, perhaps being more outward focused rather than inward focused as a party conference this year. What did you make of it?
Yes, I think that's probably quite correct. They're very happy with themselves because they managed to get through it without laughing or booing. That's very good. It's the first time they've done it in their history, and they want to signal that they are patriotic. So it's the triumph of Keir Starmer's pro-red wall approach. And in a sense, it puts a ghost to rest. It puts a ghost to rest of Jeremy Corbyn. But it also is part of this party's reconciliation with its further past in the back, which is 97. It's striking how often 97 is coming up in speeches. It's striking how many allusions there are to when they last had a Labour government, which Labour wants to stress was not just more progressive, but they're now arguing more competent than this government. That's a real turnaround, because don't forget that Ed Miliband, who'll be speaking this morning, when he became leader, as part of redefining Labour, he distanced himself from New Labour. Now Labour's going back to New Labour. So I see patriotism as all part of that package about trying to turn the clock back to Blairism, to say to people, in essence, vote for us and you get the 90s back.
Kevin Maguire, were you surprised that there wasn't a sort of protest, that there wasn't some disquiet in and around that singing of the national anthem? After all, the former leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, criticised the decision to have that anthem sung.
Yeah, and I think Keir Starmer would have welcomed that criticism, because the whole idea of having the national anthem was a break from that past, to try and show he turned a page, he's patriotic, and yeah, Labour doesn't play God Save the Queen back in the day, or until yesterday, God Save the King. But it's always been a monarchist party. It's got a very Republican roundhead streak in it, but it's always been a monarchist party. And Harold Wilson was probably the Queen's favourite Prime Minister, we're told. It wasn't a Tory, it was a Labour. And I think Starmer, who was a youthful Republican like Liz Truss, is now a middle-aged monarchist, and he wanted to project that patriotism to the country. I doubt they'll sing it next year, but he made his statement. He wanted the people to see that statement.
And perhaps surprising how smoothly it all ran.
Yeah, well, the people who didn't want to sing it stayed out the hall. That's what they did. The Shadow Cabinet were told to be in their place. They had to sing. One Shadow Cabinet
got handed the lyrics just so they didn't forget.
Just in case. As one Shadow Cabinet member asked me if he'd have to learn the second verse. I said, no, you're all right. It's always the first verse that is played. You don't want
to get into third or fourth verses where there is some awkward lyrics about rebellious Scots to crush, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's the sixth verse. I think that's been dropped now. You don't normally see it, but no, it's kind of, the national anthem is one. I personally think it's a dirge, and the national anthem should be about us, the people in the country, rather than a monarch. But nevertheless, Keir Starmer wanted to show that patriotism. No, you're exactly right. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to project it, and he would have welcomed the criticism from Corbyn.
Well, let's pick